Hello, knockouts. Tanya TKO here, and welcome to this year's first official edition of Goddess Off the Grid. And the way things have been going lately, it's been more like Queen under quarantine. But I felt like I had to come out and do a podcast today because today has been a really hard news cycle for Black women, with Tamar Braxton being rushed to the hospital with a possible suicide attempt, and Megan the Stallion coming out and expressing how she was shot, and the rumors are that Tory Lanez, the guy she was dating, shot her because he didn't want her to leave, and some other things that I came across in the news that I felt that we needed to talk about, like the fact that in order to get proper health care, Black women have just naturally during this pandemic been gravitating together and providing healthcare services for one another. And it just reminded me of the fact that in order to get good healthcare, that we've had to segregate. And it's a lot. And I felt that we really needed to have this conversation. So I decided to come out and make this. And video is different than audio. And so when you watch a video, you sit there and you're watching and you're looking, you may be doing other things, but you're there to consume and receive the content and be entertained. When you listen to a podcast, you've set aside the time for us to have a conversation, and you've cleared out the space for us to talk. You're cooking, you're driving, you're washing clothes or folding them up, and it's just you and me having a conversation, and we're able to really take the time to dive in deep to subjects that really need to be expounded upon. So listen, if you enjoy my podcast and my videos, support the content. Go to tanyatko.com/podcast and contribute monthly. You can contribute as little as 99 cents a month, $9.99 a month, $4.99 a month, whatever feels comfortable for you. That money goes directly towards assisting me be able to bring you the content that you love to hear and watch. So let's jump into it. I am Tanya TKO, and I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist from tanyatko.com. I assist people with loving themselves and each other. Recently, I've gotten into activism on my Facebook and YouTube page, especially with the protests that have been coming up, and diving into the issues of Blackness in America and unpacking that, which leads us to how we got to where it is that we are today. I'm the author of the Book of Affirmation, Self-Love, which is available on Amazon right now. And I also have MP3s on my website, hypnotherapeutic MP3s, that you can use to be able to create shifts inside of your life. And with all that's going on, we as Black women need support now more than ever. Let's jump into the first story. I woke up this morning to the news story that Tamar had been rushed to the hospital, that she was in a hotel with her boyfriend, and it had been a rough couple of days for her because she's been trying for years to get out of her contract with WeTV. And listen, I'm a fan of Tamar. I loved her on The Real. She was a fiery personality. She was a robust personality. And, I think a lot of us take for granted that some of these really, really big personalities, that those personalities are sometimes shields to mask or cover what's going on underneath. And I've read a few memes during the pandemic that talked about check on your strong friends. It's like so many of us, we have a different idea of what strength looks like, of what depression looks like. And I'm sure that there is not one Black woman out there who heard the story that really couldn't understand the tremendous amount of pain and burden that exists with being a Black woman in America, where it can become a lot. Like, this is not for the mild of heart. And it's not for the faint. It takes a tremendous amount of power. It takes a tremendous amount of power to exist and navigate through this world as a woman who shows up as being quote unquote black and living underneath the intersections of being both female in the patriarchy and being a quote unquote minority in the white supremacy. So, and then the intersection of having both groups attempting to silence you and shut you up. It's a lot. We're going to jump into that a little bit later, but back to Tamar. So she was going through this battle with WeTV where she's been trying to get out of her contract for years and they just won't let her out of her contract. She had issues with the fact that, you know, for her and her family versus the Kardashians and their family, and how the pay difference was very, very different. The promotion was very, very different. It was also said that Tamar saw the spin that they put on how they attempted to portray her in the trailer, and she just was really disheartened by that. Now, especially now during the pandemic, when we're trapped at home, we're having to deal with stagnancy and latency and not being able to be as mobile as we used to be, not having some of the comforts that we've had before, not having the social interactions that we've had before, and being confronted with a lot. You know, people take for granted mental health and the shifting. Like, people think that, oh, when you have a mental health issue, that's it. You know, that's it. You're done. But no, mental health wavers, just like any type of health. It's like we have constantly have to be in the business of staying on top of our healthfulness mentally. Like how you go every year to get that physical. And, you know, we're going to talk about the doctors in America a little bit later, but you know, you get that physical every year to check on things and see how things are going on the inside. How many of us as Black women go and get our yearly mental health checkups? Like, I mentioned it to a friend this year, and I was like, you know, when was the last time you had a mental health checkup? And he retorted back at me, when was the last time you had one? And I was like, you know, I get them yearly, especially doing the work that I do, you know. And it's like, for so many of us Black women, we have so many people riding on us. You know, I think part of the largest burden of being a woman in a society like this, where you're under tremendous amount of pressure, is that we are expected to exude this unwavering, unfalterable grace under fire. It's like we make this look easy, but it's not easy. And then things like this kind of shock us to our core, because we're able to see that somebody like Tamar, what was she suffering with? What was she enduring? What was she going through? Meanwhile, coming out to the public with the smile, coming out to the public with the bubbly personality. And it's like, you know, we love for people to entertain us with their big, just bright beautifulness. We love to be we love to bask in the sunshine of people's big personalities. And we often take for granted, you know, what feeds that person? How much is that person's light, you know, being replenished? Because often what happens is the people that you consider strong, or the people that you consider bubbly or whatnot, we end up being the recipients, and we don't really get a chance to really pour back in. So we just take for granted if someone's strong, they're going to always stay strong. And for far too many of us Black women, we give and we give and we give until we're depleted. And there really isn't the space and capacity for us to unravel. We don't really have the space and capacity to be like, you know what? This is a lot. Because no matter what happens, you know, so many of us have children. No matter what happens, those children, they still need to get the help with their homework. They still need to get those dinners cooked. They still need to be hugged, and they need their attention, and they need to be played with. And Far too many of us take...
To continue listening to this hour-long show for free, you can head over to my website, tanyatko.com/podcast, or on your favorite podcasting station like Anchor, Spotify, Apple, or Google. And special thank you to all of the people who contribute monthly to my podcast and my videos at tanyatko.com/podcast. The link is below. Because of your contributions, I am able to speak openly and honestly about race and gender, relationships, and those sorts of things. That's the whole point of being an independent broadcaster, being able to speak without advertisers manipulating you into speaking only the messages that they're comfortable with. There are people who come to me angry, demanding to know who my sponsors are. And I say, listen, I am powered by the people. So power to the people. And thank you for empowering me to speak these truths that then empower you. It is because of you that we are able to speak truth to power and have very difficult conversations on this page. So thank you. And continue to submit topics. Continue to just stay true to who it is that you are. And I'll see you on the other side. Peace.